Okay, so here we are on a tour of underground Philadelphia and how to get from, where are you going to take me today? From where to where?
We're going to go from 18th and Arch to 7th and Market without coming up.
And you were just saying that
if the American Commerce Center happens, it would extend this concourse through the food court, and it would go all the way to 19th and Arch.
But for now, it starts right here.
It starts right here.
Okay.
And it connects with this existing suburban station complex, which is steadily sort of gone further each year, or each 5 years, let's say. You know, as new developments have happened, they have connected to this thing. And in fact, the reason why American Commerce was credible to us as a fairly dense development was because of this concourse, and this is the transit-oriented development.
So, how many employees do they have?
Well, I don't know how many they would project, but in a building of the size they're talking about, or for that matter, in a building like Comcast, there's got to be thousands of employees.
And that's one of the reasons why that's good, or why that works, is because it's hooked up to this regional rail.
It's because it's hooked up to both the regional system as well as the city transit system. So I think that we can never discount the power, particularly of the regional rail hubs, where they come together with city transit. These are very powerful, and so you have one here, you have another one at Market East, and then you have one at 30th Street. Yeah, it's more musicians showing up here, which is nice. There was a great singing group here earlier this morning.
So, what other kinds of development do you hope to see, and what kinds of changes do you hope to see for this end of our underground journey?
Well, here's the thing about the underground. We have this tremendous underground network right now, and you know, you can make a fair argument that says the more people we put underground or up on a second level, the fewer of them are on the street. And that's a dilemma that we have to settle. But my theory is that this is a very big city. Ultimately, everybody can get back to the street. This isn't about this isn't a climate where you need to push everybody inside. But we have it, and we'd be foolish to ignore it, and so we need to make it as good as we can. And we also need to make its connections to the street as powerful as we can, so that there's a better interchange and flow between the two.
Okay.
That's where we're going to win on both fronts.
Okay, so since it's here, you wouldn't spend the money to build an enormous connected concourse, but since it's here, you want to use it.
Right.
And what you want to do is expand or improve the places where there's a connection with the street.
That's right. Whether you would do this from scratch or not, the fact is it's here. It's a big city. You can see there's a lot of people walking around still in the day, and we need to make this as good as we can possibly make it. And we need to do that without sort of sacrificing the power and strength of the street, which we obviously want to be good as well.
So when you're talking about having a bigger presence, street level, and the street level connections between the street and this area, how would you do that? Is it signage? Is it some marquee?
Some of it is signage. We have this tremendous rail infrastructure below ground. If you think about, this is part of our Market East strategy. If you think about Market East, but it applies here as well. How do you know this is down here? How does a visitor know that any of this is here? And what you start to realize is it's not very well marked. We have two of the largest transit hubs in the United States, one here and one at Market East, and yet they're virtually invisible. The one on Market East, you could stand on Market Street and never know that it's there at all. This has been here, a fairly long time at this point. This probably goes back at least 40 years, if not a little more. So it's got pretty good standing at this point. Now here's where it gets interesting, because here we've got this fairly consolidated concourse with a fair bit of retail in it. And now we're going to transition to the part where it's all about the transit interconnections. There's no more retail. And this is where it gets a little sketchier.
We're approaching City Hall.
That's right. This is the open air part of Dilworth Plaza.
So here's where you'd have to open your umbrella?
No, actually you don't have to.
Okay.
And there's a proposal that Center City District is working on to sort of rethink all this, rethink Dilworth Plaza, rethink how all this business works. Because I think none of us feel that this has not been enormously successful over the years. And you can start to see why. Now suddenly, what's down here? Well, there's not much down here at all.
So if this area were more like the area we just came through with retail and people, it wouldn't be so underused?
That's right. In fact, I'm going to show you a spot. It's right up here. It's an interesting spot because it's a critical one.
A few drips there.
There's always underground leak problems. It's another piece of the action. But right here, this is the center. This is, in fact, come out here. Right? So here we are. We're right on the center of City Hall. Right?
There it is.
And what you see here, what the plan that is being developed by CCD talks about, is trying to make much better, open, very light, airy access points, one on each side, to get down here, and then to use this spot as the kind of critical junction to get into the Broad Street subway on this side and get into the Market Frankfurt on that side. Right now, these are all about exits, right? You can come out here, but you don't get in here. The idea is to create a central City Hall-based subway station, enter Broad Street here, into the City Hall station there, enter the 15th Street station over there, and then really start to make this into something. Right now it's all exits. This side goes over to South Broad. It connects with the big concourse that runs under Broad Street. So you can go from here to Broad and Spruce underground through a concourse that nobody has figured out what to do with. It's a little, the tunneling down there is a little bit spookier. But this should be something. And having this open well here is okay, but what are you coming down to? You're coming down into exits.
Oh, I see. So it's really, there's all these stairs, and then you come down, and there's nowhere to go.
You don't get, right, you can't get in. So this isn't working right yet, and I think that's why the plan for redoing Dilworth Plaza is important, to make this have life, to make that thing be livelier than, and they're talking about things that could happen there. That would be covered over by a plaza, but would retain, we think, some of the character that's there now, and start to use it more aggressively as part of an extension of that kind of retail concourse that we just walked through. So let's walk down here.
Okay.